Welcome to another Demarcation Media Mega Construx review. Today we're going to be taking a look at the Blue Team set. I did a review for Fireteam Osiris years ago. I don't remember how long. I'll put the card up in the corner if you want to see that. And I really liked that set. Super happy with it. I hadn't been able to get Blue Team because Blue Team is typically more expensive and tends to be more rare. Plus, I had all of the Master Chief Collection Chiefs, so I wasn't really searching for this urgently. I was like, yeah, I have a Chief, I don't really need it. And then eventually I was like, oh, maybe I should review it, and still it was too expensive. However, this was gifted to me by Jacob Hoffman and his family. And because of him, we now will be looking at this set today. So a huge thank you to him. It was so awesome of him to give this to me. Again, totally unexpected. And I am really, really grateful for all the support him and his family have shown for this channel. So yeah, because of him, today we're going to be looking at this set. We do not have the box, which means we don't need to pay attention to that. It's basically the same as Osiris's box. It's just a standard Troop Pack box. So let's go ahead, jump in, and start with Chief himself. So you guys may have heard me say that this version of Chief is my favorite Chief, and it is. This to me is the definitive Chief because I joined the Halo scene late, and this was the Chief that was everywhere when I started getting into Halo. So to me, this is the Master Chief look, and this figure is really good right off the bat. It's a little strange. Some of the print on the chest I don't think is quite the same as some of the other ones that I've looked at in the Master Chief collection. I think that'll have to be a separate video. But this guy looks really nice. He's got a silver dry brushing all over him. These sets were notorious for having too much silver dry brushing, but I feel like this figure looks pretty good. I don't think it's too much. The head has a bit of weird printing on the front. Looks like the gold goes, or it's actually more of like a coppery color. It goes too far down and covers up some of the print there, which is a bummer, but that's an easy fix. Get a Gundam panel liner pen and just go right over that. He comes armed with a standard Halo 5 assault rifle. There's these, basically this is just generic. Like, it comes in a handful of sets. I think Buck had it in Fireteam Osiris, so there's nothing really special about it, but it does look good. It is not one that keeps a muzzle flash on, however. I honestly don't have any complaints with the way this figure looks, aside from that weird misprint. I think that this, if you're looking for a Halo 4 and 5 Chief, this could basically serve as your definitive Halo 4 and 5 Master Chief figure. Next up is Spartan Kelly. Mega's done a handful of Kellys over the years, but only, I think, one other Halo 5 Kelly. This one is definitely the best Halo 5 Kelly variant. The silver has gotten into the details of the armor really nicely here, and that kind of gray-blue is a low contrast with the silver, which is also nice. There's plenty of yellow print on the knees, on the arms, on the chest plate. The visor is done pretty well. The edges are a little rough, but honestly, one of the best Hermes helmets that I've seen, print-wise. And then she comes armed with the Oath-Sworn shotgun, which is a really nice print. Overall, a really good figure. I used to despise this version of Kelly because I thought that Hermes helmet was stupid, but I've warmed up to it over the years. I don't think it's as horrible as I first thought. I still don't love it, but I think it's not that bad. Next up is Fred. Good old reliable Fred. We don't see Fred as a figure often enough. I think this is only the third variant of Fred we've gotten. To be fair, we don't see him much in the games either, which is a shame because he's such a good character. This is the Halo 5 look, obviously, and I think it's awesome. The Centurion armor in Halo 5 looks so good. And Fred here is done pretty much perfectly. He's got some orange on his arm. The chest plate has some print, and his head has some printing as well. Now, the print on his head could have been done better. Some of it is not quite lined up. The visor is pretty nice, but there's supposed to be that little bit on the bridge of his nose, and it's not lined up where it should be. So that's a bit of a ugh. I know it's not that way for every copy of the set because I saw Jang's review and Jang's was printed pretty well, but that is something that can happen, the misprints. Ugh. Only one shoulder is printed, interestingly enough. And then, of course, he's got this silver wash over the whole of the figure, although his head doesn't have that much of it, which is a little strange. And last but not least, we have poor Linda, the one who always gets forgotten for some reason. I don't know, it's just like blue team, and oh, there's Linda too. Or maybe she's not even there. I don't know. She just is forgotten all the time, and it's kind of sad. But she's not forgotten here, and this is probably the best rendition of Linda that we've gotten. There is the 20th pack version, the anniversary figure pack version, that's much easier to get. However, I wasn't super impressed with that figure overall. It was like she was all right, but not great. This figure has a slightly different color, more of a brown hue. The silver looks really good on here. Again, some of these figures come with way too much, but I feel like there's just enough here to make it look believable. And she didn't have a ton of print. She's got a lot on her head, none on her shoulders, and then some on her chest. Looks pretty good overall. I used to also really dislike this helmet, but I've actually it's grown on me a lot. I actually do like it now. I think it's a little frightening with its owl face. So, I don't know, I guess that's a good thing. And it also is well suited for snipers. Speaking of snipers, she comes armed with her signature Norn Fang, which is pretty cool. It's got all the print that we would want from a Norn Fang on here, which is fantastic. Great to get Norn Fang. Mega's done it a handful of times, but it's nice to get every time. Overall, another really solid figure, and I feel like I got pretty lucky here with how the silver dry brushing was. It's very, very nice. Like, the look worked well here. And I know for a lot of people, they ended up with almost entirely silver figures, like Mega almost just dipped them in there. So I'm very lucky here for the level of silver that all my figures got. So one of the things these Fireteam packs did is include extra weapons based on REQs from Halo 5, because there was lots of REQ stuff going on then, and there was weapon variants and whatnot, so we've got weapon variants here. This one right here is the High 5 rocket launcher. Now, I could be wrong with any of this information. I'm pretty darn sure I got my research correct, but if for some reason I'm wrong, please somebody tell me in the comments. But this is the High 5 rocket launcher, and it's brilliant. Look at that. Little tiny UNSC printed on there, and then look at all the detailing up and down it. Actually, pointing it backwards looks like Optimus Prime's blaster from the G1 series. But yeah, both sides, you got a stud on the one side. You can plug stuff into both ends. I know a lot of people don't love this rocket launcher because it's more like a standard rocket launcher, but you gotta admit, this looks fantastic. I love how they even got the little UNSC thing in there. So good, so good. If you're a fan of printed weapons, you will absolutely love this. And then we have the Answer. I believe that's what this is. The Answer, it is a saw, and it has more of that green and red printed on it. Saws are really cool. I have not used one in-game, but I do love the mega piece. I like how short the stock is. It makes for posing, really good posing, and I would love to see this saw come back in another Halo game. I think it's a really cool weapon overall, and this printing is, again, fantastic. This one's a little weird because I think it's supposed to be Whispered Truth, but Whispered Truth is a gunslinger magnum, I think that's what it's called, that does not have a front guard and an underslung thingy, and Whispered Truth has a silencer. However, I don't think Mega ever made anything close to that other than this, and I also don't think that Halo 5 had SOCOM pistols, so I'm pretty sure that this was kind of pretending to be Whispered Truth. Regardless, though, it's a SOCOM with a printed like white gray on top, which is really versatile, really useful. I think getting a bunch of these would be helpful. Like, it's a pretty much perfect little SOCOM pistol. And then finally, we have the Whiplash Railgun. This looks awesome. This is my favorite weapon out of the whole set. We've got, is that a little eagle head up there? I don't really know, but we've got red stripes and some black stripes, and tan wraps around both sides, really nicely printed. Obviously, it's not perfect, but it's pretty darn close. And of course, giving Chief a railgun is very reminiscent of the Halo 4 marketing, so extra points there. The last part of the set is the stand. This is the build, the actual parts, and you get a printed blue team flag. You could remove that if you want to. Just printed on the one side, not on both. So that's pretty cool. I think that's actually just the Spartan 2 logo. And then this stand is essentially a deluxe Halo Heroes stand. This is really a deluxe Halo Heroes pack, to be honest. But you can remove the halves from each other, and then you can have kind of set up like this if you want to display them this way. The stand bits there are printed. You can see Master Chief, Spartan Kelly, Spartan Linda, and Spartan Fred, and these did match the Halo Heroes stands at the time. The blue detailing is nice. It really is a good contrast to Fireteam Osiris's orange. If you have not seen Fireteam Osiris, highly recommend you go and watch my review so you know what I'm talking about. And then you get these bits here that basically can allow you, I know this is on Fred's stand, but Kelly's going to borrow it for a second. Or she's going to try anyway. There we go. Yeah, you can pop them on here if you're not familiar with these stands. You know, you can kind of have them in flying poses or whatever, which is nice. The flag does tend to break off when you're fiddling with it, as you can see. But yeah, that's a nice touch. It does get in the way when trying to put the figures up here if you don't want them plugged onto it. But that's just how it is. I always would remove these from my Halo Heroes stands. You also get a clip on each one. I am missing one, but those are to hold the extra weapons, which again, kind of get in the way when you're posing them, because especially this big fat rocket launcher gets in the way. But it is nice that you can put all of the stuff on the one stand if you wanted to. I will probably just remove these weapons and have them be used by other figures. But it is an option for display if you wanted that. Well, there you have it. That is the Blue Team figure pack. Gotta say, pretty much a perfect set, assuming that you don't get a ridiculous amount of silver. But the weapon selection is great. The figures production quality is great. Again, Chief does have some issues. Fred has a few issues, but Chief's can be fixed easily. Fred's is just like minor annoyance, and then Kelly and Linda look fantastic. I am quite pleased with this set. I think it was a missed opportunity from Mega to discontinue this style. I know for Halo 5 it was really clear-cut, you know, you just want the two fire teams from the game. But I think continuing to do this would have made sense. Even doing a silver team pack like this would have made sense, but they have since discontinued it. Now, I can't really recommend you try and hunt this set down because, well, it's ridiculously expensive and people tend to want way too much for it. And there are other versions of most of the figures. I guess you could get Chief pretty easily. Linda, you could get really easily. Kelly and Fred, not so much if you wanted the Halo 5 versions, but there are the Legends versions that are pretty easy to get. So I don't really recommend you try to hunt it down. Huge thank you again to Jacob Hoffman for sending this along. This video would not have happened without his generosity. And yeah, I love this set, but I wish I could recommend it, but I can't. It's just too expensive these days. It's too expensive, and for what you get, there are better things you could spend your money on. Thanks so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please leave a like and consider subscribing, and I'll see you next time.